Can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me? Can y'all hear me? All right, I think y'all can hear me. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to come in. I miss y'all. How was everybody Thanksgiving? How was y'all Thanksgiving? Wait, I don't like this screen, y'all. It's like real blurry, so I'm gonna take it off. Y'all can see. Let me see. I got me a mic now, so y'all can hear me. All right, if y'all see me looking down at my shirt, it's because I'm talking to the mic. Wait a minute. So don't look at me like Jazz talking to her shirt. Let me make sure I got this. In a minute. Okay. Like that one. All right. Here we go. Okay, great, great, great. I miss y'all. How was your Thanksgiving? Are you welcome? Yeah, I came on because I wanted to talk about a few things. I was hoping everybody had a beautiful Thanksgiving. That's for one. For two, I hope that everybody was with family. I hope everybody keeping the masks on, and I hope everybody is being safe because we are going to be having an upcoming rally for Robert Sylvester Kelly, which is going to be in a matter of less than 8 days. So I did notify New York, and they said it is okay for us to come. The only thing is anybody who's coming, they have to had already been in their state quarantine for 12 days before they come. So like if they come, then they had to be in their state for 12 days without going to any other state before they come to New York. Like say if you live in Chicago, for instance, you had to be in Chicago for the last 14 days. Like you can't you couldn't have been traveling to one state and another state and then now coming to New York. Long as you was in your state for 12 days without traveling to another state, then you can come to New York. So I wanted to talk about that, and also I wanted to talk about a few things. I hear everything in these YouTube streets, and it's funny because I've been trying to focus on Robert Sylvester Kelly. We have a lot of things that we're going to be talking about this upcoming week. Shout out to those who've been working behind the scenes with this design, the designers, the graphic designers who's been working very hard for this movement. We're actually trying to create an actual movement, which will be for the injustice and the violation of a lot of men's rights, constitutional rights. But we're going to be doing a movement for Robert, but also there's a lot of other individuals whose rights have also been violated due to Time's Up and Me Too, which I didn't know, but have talked to a lot of people over this last past week who are willing to be involved in the movement. So I appreciate them for that. And with me doing all these things, my name is mentioned in the YouTube streets. I don't understand why. Um, I don't talk to no other bloggers. I talk to my subscribers. I talk to Robert Sylvester Kelly supporters. And there's only a handful of those who I associate with outside of YouTube. It's only a handful of those that I text outside of YouTube. So I'm really kind of confused of why my name is mentioned. So it was told to me that my name was mentioned and that a Pacific blogger was like, if I see you over in Jazz's chat, you can't be over here. I'm gonna block you. So basically, was out there telling people, grown individuals, who chat they can support and who channels they can support, and that if they come to my channel, that this particular blogger told them that she's going to block them. Let me make this clear. You can't tell a grown person where to go, who to support. That's for one. For two, most of these people on YouTube, on the R. Kelly side, is on YouTube to go to different bloggers to get information about the case. That's two. Three, most of these subscribers, again, are supporters of Robert Sylvester Kelly first. And then they supporters of, whatever blogger or whoever they see that is supporting Robert. What I can't seem to understand is for a grown person, grown, grown, to tell other grown people, oh, you can't go here and you can't go there. And I seen some of y'all in her chat, and if I see it again, I'm going to block you. We're not in kindergarten. We're not in elementary school. Why do people think that telling grown people in a chat where they can go? Why am I that important that you have to tell your audience to don't go over to Jazz's chat? So let me make this clear. Exactly, Precious. When will it end? I don't know, because I don't speak of no other bloggers' names at all. I spoke what I spoke last week because, again, a live was made to me with my name in it. So that's the only reason I spoke. Secondly, it's getting to the point now, it's like, how old are we? And then this man is fighting for his life. These are Robert Sylvester Kelly supporters who go to different bloggers for not one, the commentary, the content, and because different bloggers are actually putting their footwork in and doing actual rallies, marches, interviews, and different things to help this man. And by the way, to everybody who wants the different flyers to give out in their state, please make sure y'all contact me because I do have them, and one of my mods is working very hard. I won't put no names out there, but the flyers are done. For those of you that want to give out some flyers in your state or city, if you can't attend the march, please make sure you contact me so that I can get those flyers out to you as soon as possible, so that you can start giving them out in your city or state or co-workers or anything of that nature. So again, the flyers are done. And if you want to receive any flyers, if you're not attending the upcoming New York rally, then make sure you contact me so that I can get those flyers out to you so that you can pass them out. You can pass them out in your neighborhood. You can pass them out at your job to your colleagues. You can pass them out anywhere you want if you can't come to the actual rally. So that's the point of us getting the flyers out to everybody. So again, people are going to support who they want to support. I would never, ever in my life, ever come on YouTube and tell my subscribers, if you go over here or you go over there, you can't come back to my chat. I would never tell y'all what to do, ever. If you want to associate with somebody, then you can go ahead and associate with them. I'm never going to tell you, if you go to this person's or that chat, you're going to be blocked. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I would never do it. For one, I'm grown. For two, you're grown. For three, a lot of you that are not content creators and just subscribers, you come to the different channels so that you can get commentary and content on Robert Sylvester Kelly, right? So why would I divide Robert Sylvester Kelly supporters? Why would I bring y'all into different beefs that's going on between bloggers? After I said what I said last week, That was it. But to tell a grown person you can't go here and you can't go there, I would never do that to you guys. Ever. And I just want to make that clear. If any of you want to go to any other blogger's channel, you sure can. You can. All I ask is, and it seems like I can't even get this. All I asked last week was for people to don't mention me. If I don't mention you, I don't talk about you. I strictly stay on the case. And now on my channel, we do karaoke and then we do movie night. So, other than that, is no reason for a blogger name to come out of my mouth. For what? Like, it's getting very disgusting to even talk about it because it's like for you to hear a grown woman mention my name and then tell people if I see you over in her chat, you will be blocked. Like, is that serious? Like, you don't have a life? I'm on your brain that hard? Because guess what, sweetie? I have 2 jobs, okay? I have a life. I have a family. No blogger is ever that important on my brain that I'm about to come on YouTube and tell people, hey, if I see you over in such and such channel, you're getting blocked. What? Do you actually believe that these subscribers are going to listen to you? Do you actually believe that you can tell a grown person what to do? And for any subscribers who listen to that, something's wrong with you too. Because nobody should ever be able to tell you where you can go, who you can support. Any real subscriber need to say, come on now, that's childish. What do your commentary about Robert Sylvester Kelly or any commentary you do, what does that have to do with somebody behind the screen typing in the chat? You mean to tell me if you see them in another blogger's chat, that gets under your skin? Exactly, Miss Carter. If you're for Robert Sylvester Kelly, why would you sabotage anything that benefits him? And that's straight up. Why would you try to divide and conquer? That's why I said a couple weeks ago, this is way past R. Kelly now. Like, this has become people's personal issues, people's personal problems. Who cares? Who cares? And I'm going to just keep this straight up. You really telling people in the chat that you never even met nor seen that they can't go to this chat and that. Do you really know who behind the screen names? Except for if you meet the people outside of YouTube or if you talk to these people. But other than that, you don't even know who's barely behind the screen names. All you see is individuals in the chat that's typing. Now, if you don't have a relationship with them outside of YouTube, how can you talk to a screen and tell screen names if I see your screen name in another chat, but really said my name? Knowing that I am a heavy supporter of Robert Sylvester Kelly, know that I talk to a lot of individuals from his inner circle that can help us get these marches and rallies together to help us get the information out there. Why would you try to divide and conquer individuals knowing that you're not a part of the inner circle, knowing that you don't talk to nobody that's a part of the inner circle that can get things done that we can't? Like, why would you try to divide and conquer that? I'm not understanding it. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me that. But I have not said this young lady's name at all. At all. And I'm not going to put the blogger out there, but I just talked to another blogger about 2 or 3 days ago. And this is what we were talking about. Like, when is it going to end? And this particular blogger that I was talking to, this blogger goes to other people's channels and all that. I never not once told this blogger, oh, you can't go over there because you talk to me. No. Because just because the person have a relationship with me might have a different relationship with a person that I'm not talking to, but I'm not going to stop that. Like, when is it going to end? It's like, exactly, candy, apple candy. I did too. I did too. And the funny thing about it is, how you going to try to divide and conquer somebody like me who shows up? I show up and show out. I come to every state, every city. Whoever's having anything, I'm with it. I'm coming, right? How you going to try to stop individuals from supporting me, right? When they know I'm going to show up for Robert. So meaning it's beneficial. Are you going to show up in Chicago? Are you going to show up in New York? Are you going to show up in Washington? And then we have a new state, Detroit, that we're having rallies at. Are you going to show up in Detroit? Are you going to lead your followers to Chicago, Washington, New York, and now Detroit? We just picked another state to get this message out about what has been done to Robert Sylvester Kelly. Are you going to set up these interviews with these radio stations? Because I set up 3. Are you going to get this information out to a major media outlet? Because I set up 2. Are you going to get this information up in the newspaper? Because I already hit one newspaper already, doing a New York Post in a matter of less than a week. So why would you ever try to stop anything that's beneficial to Robert Sylvester Kelly? Just because you have a personal beef with bloggers. Okay, I get that. I get it. But what do they have to do with Robert Sylvester Kelly? Most of your subscribers are supporters of Robert Sylvester Kelly. Most of them. That's why I said it's not about Robert Sylvester Kelly no more. And for the individuals that claim they love him and they support Robert and all this, don't get in the midst of this dumb stuff. Support that man because he needs it. He needs it. All these childish games is like, come on. How are you trying to say somebody else's name because something happened to this person? Everybody's grown. I have nothing to do with what nobody else is going through at all. Because when I was going through stuff, I had to put my big girl panties on and keep it chucking. I said what I had to say last week, and that was it. I didn't come back up on this screen telling nobody where they can go, who they can follow, none of that, because I would never do that. I got more integrity than that. To ever come up on the screen and tell you, don't go follow this person. Don't go follow that person. Oh, you better not. If you do, I'm going to block you. And any grown person that listens to that, they're crazy. That's crazy. And like I said, who are you talking to? Screen names? Because this person herself seen that I show up. Yeah, I'm coming across state lines and all that for Robert Sylvester. I show up. So who are you really talking to when you saying don't come over to Jazz's chat? And if I see you, I'm going to block you. Because half of these screen names that you're seeing, have you ever even met those individuals? And then go and say, oh, I seen some people that's still over there in her chat, and that's on them. Yes, because they support Robert Sylvester Kelly. And they want the commentary. They want the content. They want to give up ideas of ways that we can help this man, different things that we all can do. It's not about nobody being best friends, clicking up, no teams, none of that. It's strictly about Robert Sylvester Kelly. And if you support Robert the way you claim you do, then why would you try to divide and conquer? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. This man fighting for his life. Make it make sense. Like, I ain't never get on my page and ever tell any of y'all, don't go support this person, or don't go to this person page. What do I look like? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it, y'all. I don't. And it's sad. It's very sad. It's very sad. And at the end of the day, this man is fighting for his life. When is people going to get that? And right now, he knows everything that goes on in these YouTube streets. And it's sad that the negative stuff have got to him. And people have told him the negative stuff. So now that man got to think about that on his mind. He already think about everything else. But now he got to think about how people allegedly claim they support us. But on YouTube, it's all this drama, all this back and forth, this, that, and the third. Come on. And like I said, anybody that's out there putting their footwork to the ground, supporting this man, I respect anybody. I don't care. I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me. But if they out there supporting this man, kudos to them. But if you just sitting up on a screen calling shots, your words ain't getting too far. Because you're doing a whole lot of talking, no movement. None. And this is why I don't come on YouTube to say a lot of things and locations anymore, because it's crazy. It's crazy. The people who you think support Robert, now I'm questioning it. Like, damn, do they really support him? Or did they use this man's name for gain to build channels up? And once they channels built, they like, oh, I don't need him no more. I ain't got to worry about no movements and going to marches and none of that. It's real petty, Precious. It's so petty, it doesn't make sense. Like, we got to be fighting after time's up. Me Too, Mute R. Kelly, Surviving R. Kelly. They the real enemies. But you see people talking about bloggers more than they talking about time's up. Me Too, Kim Fox. Go talk about her. She's the real enemy. Go talk about Michael Avenatti and how the judge just gave him an extra damn 20-something days to be out. And he's convicted felon. Go talk about that. Talk about the superintendent, Eddie Johnson, who now is facing sexual assault charges, who was standing next to Kim Fox when she made that statement about Robert Sylvester Kelly. Go talk about that. Stop talking about unnecessary stuff. I can't believe it. Like, I'm really shocked that this blogger just said my name. I really am. I really am. I know some people might say, oh, I don't know why you shocked or whatever. Because I give people the benefit of the doubt. And I'm a grown woman. And I thought that other people was grown too. But when you start using your commentary to bring my name up, and I don't even speak your name, then when you basically saying you checking out my chats, or anybody that's in her chats, and I be seeing people in her chats, and they took Dream Team off their name. That's what I was telling you on Passionately Gangsta's channel. A lot of people support Robert Sylvester Kelly, but they don't want to be a part of any teams. I kept saying that on Passionately Gangsta's channel just because I was a part of a team. Everybody else was telling me, and I'm not going to put their names out there because I'm not into that. But people were coming to me telling me they did not want to be a part of it. They just wanted to support Robert. But when I said this on Passionately Gangsta's channel, everybody took it the wrong way. Everybody tried to switch my words up like I said something wrong. Everybody don't want to have beef. Everybody is not built to beef. Everybody is not trying to go to marches and rallies and they beefing with this person. Just because I'm willing to rock with a team and beef with people, everybody's not with that. And at the end of the day, it gets to a time where it's like, okay, what are we beefing for? After a while, nobody's not doing anything. Nobody's not really risking to go to jail. Nobody's not really risking to get hurt, because that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Like, I don't get it, y'all. And like I said, I have been doing, ever since I had my channel, I have been respectful to everybody. How many bloggers come over to my channel, ask me, hey, can I come up on a panel? You sure can. I drop the link and let them come up, say what they got to say or whatever. And then try to support everybody. I know it's not about the money, but I have supported bloggers with money. No other blogger supported my channel with money. No cash apps, no super chats, none of that. But I didn't go in the corner and cry. I supported them though, because I wanted to see them grow. And I knew that we all were on the same page, Robert Sylvester Kelly. So if I see you do good commentary, yeah, I'm a cash app you. Yeah, I'm a super chat you. If I see that you have a members only channel where you got to sign up as a member and pay, yeah, I signed up for people's channels, both of my pages, and pay the fee every month. But I don't get how I go from doing that to now bloggers, the same people I supported, really can come on YouTube and tell people don't go to her chat. Like, make it make sense, because it ain't making sense to me. It ain't. Sorry. Yeah, they are laughing. And you know what's so funny? People sitting back looking like everybody done turned this into, okay, this click, that click, this click, that click. When it should just be all R. Kelly supporters. That's what it should be. All the R. Kelly supporters, everybody come as one. That's what it should be. Straight up. Now, I don't mind if people got their own side clicks or whatever outside of the R. Kelly case. Okay, fine and well. I know a couple bloggers who made up names for their subscribers. Cool. But we're not going to act like that. Most of these bloggers came on representing Robert Sylvester Kelly hard. And most of the supporters are supporters of Robert Sylvester Kelly. We're not going to act blind and act like that's not what it was. Especially everybody that's on this side speaking about Robert and doing commentary on him. They knew that most of their supporters were R. Kelly supporters. Straight up. The hate is definitely real, and it's to the point I gotta move forward. I'm not paying it no mind. All I want to come on here and say is don't forget tomorrow we're doing the R. Kelly versus Kel's karaoke. We will be doing that, and we also will be celebrating Sonia's birthday tomorrow. So make sure y'all be here 6 o'clock. I love all my moderators, and that's what I want for the rest of my moderators or any of my subscribers. Make sure y'all send your birthdays in. My mods and my subscribers. Make sure y'all send your birthdays in. I want to make sure that I never miss y'all birthdays in the day that y'all were born. I want to make sure that we're always celebrating everybody's born day. I think that's a very special day. And I just want to make sure that we're never missing nobody and that we acknowledge you on your birthday. So if I don't have it already, if you could put it in the chat. And again, contact me on the channel's number and just, run it past me. Hey, Jazz, this is my birthday. And we want to make sure that we're always celebrating the mods and the subscribers' birthdays. So don't forget, tomorrow at 6, we will be celebrating Sonia's birthday. And the funny thing is, my sister's birthday is Sunday, the 29th. So I'm going to see if she could come in tomorrow and join the chat and come up on the panel and say a few things, because her birthday is right, tomorrow is Sunday, the 29th. And my uncle that died, my mom's brother, his birthday is November 29th, the same day as my sister. So I'm going to try to get my family in here tomorrow because we're celebrating Sonia's birthday and celebrate a lot of the early Sagittarius. Anybody early Sagittarius, if your birthday is near the 27th, 28th, or 29th, make sure you're here tomorrow because we will be celebrating. Yes, Miss Carter. Cancer Nation. That is me. Cancer Nation. Yes. Precious said, you didn't say anything wrong. They just took it negativity, but you were only speaking what was told to you and nothing. Thank you. But you know what I noticed too, Precious? For the people who did come and tell me, like they didn't like what happened at Washington, and um, they don't want to go to no rallies and have to go through that again. And they were like, Jazz, you sure you're not beefing with nobody? And why you ain't tell us that you was beefing with people, and because our safety was just at risk. And I took the blame. I apologize for what happened. I yeah, I took the blame, and I told them that I will come publicly and state that everybody doesn't want to be in a group, and I did. Whoever don't like it, at this point, I can care less. For the people who told me that they didn't want to be a part of the group, but they did want to support Robert, and they got stuff to lose, and they don't want to be a part of the drama, and they don't want to be a part of the bull crap. They just want to support Rob. And they was telling me it don't look good with representing Robert Sylvester Kelly and all the beef every day. And I respect my elders. There's a lot of older people in their 60s that were talking to me as well. So I kept my promise. I came public and I admitted that just because I aligned myself with certain individuals, everybody didn't want to. They didn't say that they didn't want to support these individuals. They said they didn't want to be in the bull crap, the beef and stuff. So regardless of how people felt about the live, everybody's not coming forward and saying what they tell me. I have talked to people behind the scenes, and they say the same thing. Jazz, you didn't do nothing wrong. These are people that they talk to that have told me the same thing. For the people that was coming at my neck and, oh, we don't need her and all this, well, people who they associate with have already came to me and told me that I didn't do nothing wrong. But if they don't want to come publicly and say it, I'm fine with it. I know what they told me. I wish people would come publicly and say it, but it's like, for what? For what? Because, see, I could call the bloggers I talk to. I can call the subscribers that I talk to. Like, hey, can you come forward and, state what you told me? But why? People going to have their own opinion anyway. People going to say what they want anyway. So why am I coming to fix it? I don't get it. Let me see some of y'all comments. Like this, but I will be here. Thank you, Precious. There you go. Those groups. That's a fact. If they support Robert Sylvester Kelly, they should be one accord. Can't see women, y'all. It's kind of little. Yeah, you're right. You said if they support Robert Sylvester Kelly, they should be on one accord that's focusing on Robert Sylvester Kelly and leave the BS behind, right? But it's like I said last week, for everybody that signed up for Traderia, I appreciate my team. Everybody is working behind the scenes, learning how to trade every day. This is their second week learning. I have some people who just signed up at the end of this week that just passed, and now they're on a roll to get this money. Okay, you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. Even when you trade thousands and thousands, the highest you can get now is $1 million a week. $1 million a week. It's not a game. So when I see the drama, it lets me know you got too much time on your hand. Because if you're busy working and getting money and trying to do better for yourself and be productive, what time do you have to be in a mess? What time do you have? Because I don't have it. I don't have no time for it. Nope. And I will not entertain it. Every day I'm not coming on my channel to entertain it. I ask politely for bloggers to don't mention my name. But I know that's going to go on one ear, not the other. But I'm asking very politely. Please don't say my name. Please don't do it. You can get your own ratings and stuff without having to say my name. I'm pretty sure of it. So don't use my name in your commentary. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. It looks real childish. Very. Especially when I'm not even speaking your name. And I won't do it right now. I will not. So that's how grown women handle stuff. You got a problem, whatever city, state you live in, I don't got no problem pulling up. And we can talk face to face. But this here thing going on YouTube every other week, keep dragging it along. Keep dragging it. I'm not that. Nah. Type of person I am, I'm a Cancer. And I love hard. So the same way I love hard, when somebody disrespects me or when I feel like somebody is like calling me out or something, I like to handle stuff to that person. I don't like to bring other individuals in it. So when you say you have a problem or when you say you dislike me, I like to come to you and figure out what's up so we can try to, get to a core that you don't have to say my name. I don't got to say yours. But when you keep making me relevant and I'm not even saying your name, that's a problem to me. Why? I don't get it. Why? Exactly. And you know what I think, Precious? The reason why people not coming forward to say what they told me is because of what I'm saying. They don't want to be in the mess. So they don't want to come forward and say, hey, yeah, I was one of the people that told Jazz that, or I was one of, because they know that for one, nobody's not going to just respect their opinion and walk away. For two, they're going to have to go back and forth on YouTube. So I hope everybody respected me, that I didn't mention their names and didn't mention what they said. All I did was go passionately against the channel, and I said the subscribers. I never said just my subscribers. No, R. Kelly's supporters said it. That's who said it. It was amongst us all. And people came at me, and I respect everybody's opinion. And then women and men that's older than me that said it doesn't look right. If you are advocating for Robert Sylvester Kelly, it does not look right every minute to be involved in drama. You can't advocate for this man and then 2 days later you on the internet like, oh, what's up? Well, you try and rumble, da-da-da-da. So I thank those people for also letting me know, like, that's not, and for two, it's not ladylike, because especially when I'm going to bat for these individuals, okay, it doesn't look ladylike on my behalf for me to go to bat for these people, willing to fight, go at anybody, willing to go to any city and state. I don't even know what people saying when they not with me, but I'm still willing to rock out with you. And didn't even know that people was saying things on the live before they got to Washington. With me not even knowing that, I still was rocking out with people. But where it makes me look stupid at is I'm willing to go the extra mile for other people that they're not willing to go for me. That's where I had to check myself at. Now, Cancers, anybody know a Cancer, we love hard. And anybody we care about or anybody who we associate with, we like this. and cancers will go at this one, go at that one. That's how loyal we are. So it makes me look real like crazy when I'm ready to go over state lines to support individuals that's willing to throw my name under the bus in 2 seconds. No. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. Yep, exactly. And that's the thing. I have moved on, but I got a call today. Another call. Hey, Jazz, I'm just calling you to tell you someone's bringing your name up again. I'm like, what? No. First thing I said to the person, and they in the bushes, I'm not gonna say their name, but the first thing I said, no, ain't nobody say my name. I'm like, no, she wasn't talking about me. Until they sent it to me, I'm like, oh my God, they really would. Because I'm thinking, like, ain't nobody that childish that they gonna really get on a platform and say, don't go over to Jazz's channel. Like, for you to even say don't go over to any person's channel, it's crazy. That's crazy to me. And to me, it's stirring the drama up again because you know that people are going to react to your comment. Especially when you up here trying to divide and conquer the supporters. Don't do that. Because if you got an issue with me, you deal with me. You deal with me. Again, you deal with me. Why bring the supporters in it? Why do you need a team to deal with me? Why do you gotta pass hate against other supporters to try to hate me? They didn't have an issue with me. You do. So why you can't deal with me? Tell me that. I don't get that. Why do a grown individual have to team up with people that's in the chat, screen names, to run around YouTube and hate me and dislike me? Why you couldn't just step to me yourself and deal with me yourself? Why did you have to recruit other people to make them hate me and dislike me? They didn't have a problem with me. You do. So who does that? You can't deal with me on your own? I would never tell other grown people don't go in your chat. Never. Ever. Because my channel is specifically to bring the information about Robert Sylvester Kelly and all the injustices that's going on around the world. And also, I talk about a lot of different things far as health. Everybody knows that. My sea moss and the different herbs and stuff to keep our immune system strong. Yes, I go in about the health. And I also talk about a lot of things far as the medical field and what I learned in school about different behavioral problems, different anger management problems. I touch all that. So outside of that, I'm never going to bring inside my commentary to say, don't go over to this person's channel. Don't go over to that person's. Like, what? Exactly. Yeah, I don't, and it makes me think like, was some of these people, was that the objective from the beginning? Because they're not fighting for their life. He is. And to see this man fighting for his life and you want to keep trying to conquer, divide, keep stuff going, never said your name not one time. So now I think that the supporters, what they need to be looking at is the person that's saying that. Don't go to this person's channel. Don't go. And I seen some people over in her chat already, but that's on them. They're grown. They are grown. Repeat that. They are grown. So I'm not gonna give it too much more of my time to talk about it. That's what I had to say far as that. And don't forget tomorrow. I know it's late, guys. Don't forget tomorrow we're gonna be doing the R. Kelly versus Kels, and it's Sonia's birthday. I wanted you guys to see something. I'm gonna try to pull it up. I think I might have to pull it up on here. So give me 1 second, y'all. I keep forgetting, y'all. I got this mic. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna try to look on the actual. Give me 1 second. Ah.
Power on. HDMI 2. HDMI 2. HDMI 2. HDMI 1.
Time, he will exalt you. I am Joel Osteen.
Mute.
YouTube. Okay, y'all. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna try to turn it around so we can see it. Because there's a couple things that Barbara says in this interview that I just want to touch bases on.
Unmute.
To do right now is called
Mute.
Okay, let me see. Make sure that y'all can see and pull this with Alright, y'all. Wait, I just gotta turn it. I probably gotta turn my light out so that y'all can see it clearer. Wait, let me make sure that my tripod is not on it. Wait a minute, y'all. Ah! That joint stuck on my foot. It hurt it so bad. Wait, y'all. I want to make sure y'all can see it clearly. Can y'all see it good? Cause I don't wanna I might have to dim my light. Wait a minute, let me dim the light. Can y'all see it? That's what I was about to do, Precious. Yeah, that's what I was about to do. Because we're gonna do a reaction video. I'm gonna probably do it tomorrow since it's late, but I did want to do a reaction video to it. I know Sharon did one. I think she did. But I don't know if you guys remember, but Jen was also the same one who testified against Robert in 2008. Yeah, and she actually said on the stand that it was Robert.
Yeah, Carrie.
Unmute.
Okay. You ladies worked for R. Kelly for quite a while. All right, and it was during
Volume up.
And both of them didn't work for R. Kelly.
and so
Just
I believe you
Jen.
ladies, I don't want to speak, you have been advocates, you wanted you're calling for his release. You feel that he is innocent. And I just kind of wanted to unwind your story because you didn't get much time in the private R. Kelly documentary done by R. Kelly.
Can you guys see?
Done by time. Okay, on R. Kelly. Right. On R. Kelly. Yes, on R. Kelly. And so I've always wanted to hear more from you, okay? Because I kind of thought you were coming from a non-biased position, you know? And so I'm happy to have you here. I'm glad I caught you ladies because I know that you are very, very busy right now with kids and work and things like that. And so, Jen, we can start with you. If you could just tell the audience who you are before we dive into some details that have not been out.
Volume up.
Giving your time working for our kids. Yeah, we can start with you. Introduce yourself and Lizzie.
Okay. My name is Jen Perryman Emmerich, and I was an intern for R. Kelly starting in 1999. I interned at the studio after Lindsay got hired. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in the music industry, and Rob gave me an opportunity as an intern to see if it was something that would be for me.
Okay.
And then eventually I became one of his personal assistants. And then I did not see the longevity in that as a career, mainly because, and I'll just be honest, mainly because his wife at the time was very difficult to deal with.
We're talking
And she would,
okay.
yeah. So that's ultimately why I quit. But Rob was always wonderful. He was very professional, a great boss, and also became a good friend. And so because we'd always worked so well together and just got along, we continued our friendship over the years. And first we stayed in contact because Lindsay worked with him for so long. And then eventually I moved out to Las Vegas. And every time Rob would come in town to do a show or for the Billboard Music Awards, he would always make sure that we would meet up, have dinner, go out to clubs. And then up until he got arrested, we'd always just stayed in contact over the phone.
Okay, great. Thank you. Lizzie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Lindsay. Yeah, I'm Lindsay Perryman Dunn. I started working with R. Kelly in 1999 after I graduated from audio recording school from Tempe, Arizona. We're from Chicago, so it was natural for me to come back from my program in Tempe, Arizona and do an internship. At the time, Chicago had Chicago Recording Company and Chicago Tracks. Those were the two places for audio recording engineers to intern and then get hired. CRC, which is Chicago Recording Company, they had a reputation for not hiring their interns, where Chicago Tracks had a better history. So that's the entire reason why I ended up at Chicago Tracks.
Okay.
I began as an intern and, getting coffee, cleaning, studios, food runs, things like that. And then I got the phone gig. That was like a big promotion for me. So I'd be answering the phones at Chicago Tracks during the day, and then intern on as an assistant audio engineer at night in Music One. So I did that for, I guess it was, I want to say, because it was like the summer. So I guess it was through about January. And Robert had been in Philadelphia recording with artists on the East Coast, so he hadn't been in the studio a whole lot, just a little bit. And he called me one day because Lafayette, his music director at the time, thought that I would be a great addition to the R. Kelly team in a studio management aspect for Robert's studios that he had at Tracks. He had Music 2, and then an office downstairs and another small studio. So he called me from Philadelphia and said, "Lindsay, I want you to come work for me." I said, "Okay." And so we'll start now. So I did. I went back and Lafayette set me up in an office. And so I moved up. I worked with him on and off for about 8 years. I ended as my role as general manager was the last position I had with him.
Okay.
And I went and worked with other artists in interim. So I did Rakim, Nelly, Cash Money, B2K. I worked with A. I worked at Jive Records for a couple years, and then each time, whenever I was done with the gig, when I come back to the R. Kelly team, and so back and forth, and I go from Chicago to LA, back to Chicago, LA, New York. I lived in New York for a couple years, and then I left my job. I left with him. It was like 2007, 2008. Right at the time of the trial, and mainly because he wasn't recording very much. He was trying to record, but he wasn't getting a lot done. He was very stressed, and Chicago Recording Company actually called and offered me a position as their executive producer. So I made that change, and then down the road, because I had been in Chicago for so long, for the first time in a long time, while not working for R. Kelly, I was accessible. And so the prosecutor of Chicago came into my office at CRC with her baby, her brand new baby with her, wanting to visit with me. And so I did visit with her. And
Okay.
she had all these files of, women who had settled out of court with R. Kelly, and really felt that, the case, is very important to her to win this case against R. Kelly. And that was with the alleged underage role with him. I had never seen the video at that point. And then after visiting with her and saying, "No, I had a subpoena," I was forced to testify in the 2008 trial.
And this was dealing with Shauna LaFleur. One,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you still don't have, tangible actually in the video. But
No, we don't.
the trial was R. Kelly's.
Yeah, and I was like 24, 25 when I testified.
What happened? Wait a minute, y'all. I don't know what happened. Oh my God. Did something cut off in there? Huh? Wait a minute, y'all.
Again, you can see it. The seat.
YouTube. I don't know why I just did that. I told y'all every time we playing something that got something to do with Robert, it's always something. It don't never fail.
So many people are trying to tell me to slow down. Seems like motherfuckers should be shutting the hell up and enjoying the show.
All right, so we
For about 8 years. I ended as my role as general manager was the last position I as their executive producer. So I made that change, and
I just want to
and
say
then-
one thing to you guys real fast. Um, what's cracking me up about what she's saying? Can y'all hear me? Because I still got my mic on. I don't want to interfere with the. Just put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. My thing might be on a delay. Yeah, just put a 1 if you guys can hear me. Okay, bet. The part where she just said she never seen the video. Let me make this clear. That's a lie. Jen and Lindsay. Lindsay was on the stand, and when they were investigating Robert before the trial came, she was going back and forth talking to the grand jury. She never told Robert while she still was underneath him and around him. And she never told Robert that they subpoenaed her. Now she's saying that they forcefully subpoenaed her to get on the stand. Nobody can force you to get on the stand and say that that's 100% him in the video. That's bullcrap. You could have got on that stand and said, no, that's not Robert. Nobody forces you to say, I'm 100. I think she said I'm 110%. I don't quote me. I got to get the actual saying, but she said over 100% that was Robert and Rashonda on the video. So let's go back and listen to these lies. I was at first taken up for Jen and Lindsay like last year, this when they was around Kip, but she's the first one that came out and said that Robert said don't deal with Dana. They the first ones that came out and said Homeland Security said don't deal with him. They were dealing with Kip, and they were saying that Robert was making them advocates for him, and they were about to be the head of attorney, like all these things. Come to find out it was not true. Robert doesn't talk to them. Now they know other people that Robert talks to, but a lot of things that they were saying last year was not true. Everybody was going over on Instagram, following her page, following her Facebook page, but come to find out a lot of things that she was saying was not true. So let's finish to see what the lies is going to be, and then I'll do a reaction from the video.
Down the road, because I had been in Chicago for so long, for the first time in a long time, while not working for R. Kelly, I was accessible. And so the prosecutor of Chicago came into my office at CRC with her baby, her brand new baby with her, wanting to visit with me. And so I did visit with her. And she had all these files of, women who had settled out of court with R. Kelly, and really felt that, the case, is very important to her to win this case against R. Kelly. And that was with the alleged underage girl with him. I had never seen the video at that point. And then after visiting with her, and saying, I had a subpoena, and I was forced to testify in the 2008 trial.
And this was dealing with Shauna LaFleur. One, I guess we still don't have, tangible actually in the video. Well,
no, we don't.
The trial was R. Kelly's.
Yeah, and I was like 24, 25 when I testified. They threw me in a room. When I got to the courthouse that day, they threw me in a room for like an hour or two with the sex tape on a loop. I was forced to watch it, and then they brought me directly on the stand. Yeah. And
pornography.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know they got on like that. Okay.
Yeah, on a loop. On a loop.
Did have just shown you a picture? Like, hey, is this Yeah, okay.
Well, that's the thing. So you do that to somebody, and then you usher them into, court, and it feels like you're at somebody's funeral in that sense.
Vulnerable.
And I had nothing bad to say about R. Kelly. They asked if I thought the girl was in the video, was Rashona, and I thought it was because of the cheekbones of the girl. But now that I've, gotten older and I have training in healthcare, that was an ignorant statement to even make.
Why?
You can't be sure, because you can't be sure of somebody in a video, especially nowadays, unless you were there to watch the video being made. You know, the person in the video, it resembled R. Kelly, but you couldn't confirm that it was him. The person in the video resembled Roshona, but it also resembled a young Lisa Van Allen. So, and those are two people that are familiar to me. So imagine how many people it actually might, you know, match up to. You know, a lot of people have similar profiles, things like that. And I have been privy to the media, you know, newspaper articles, the prosecution, you know, coming to my work and just laying out all this information that was biased and one-sided. And I, you know, it would be safe to say that I was in a very manipulative relationship with the prosecution of, you know, of the Chicago area for this trial. And I'll say, you know, as a witness at that time with Lindsay, when I remember back in 1999, as an intern for Rob, I was just coming into the studio, my daily shift, and one of the security approached me and he said, "Hey, has anybody from Sparkle's camp," which was an artist that Rob had dropped from his label. He said, "Has anyone from Sparkle's camp contacted you and or been in contact with you in any way?" And I said, "No, I mean, I haven't heard anything." And I said, "Why? What's going on?" And he said, "Well, they're trying to get Rob to pay him or to pay her $250,000, or they're going to take some tape to the press, not to the police, but to the press." And I said, "Oh, wow." I'm like, and I said, "No, I haven't heard anything." And I said, "Well, is he going to pay it?" And
Roshona is Sparkle's niece.
Yes. So Roshona is Sparkle's niece, and then Roshona's dad, Greg Landfair, is a studio musician on many of R. Kelly's albums. He was a guitar player.
Okay.
So Sparkle was the link for that relationship in general, and then the reason why Roshona and her brother were around the studio were because Dad was there playing, you know, guitar. Studio sessions, and I remember her mother worked full time as well. So
he employed them.
And Rob values family very much, so he had no problem with anyone bringing their children to the studio. Well, and we had been introduced to Roshona, as I mentioned, as a nanny. She was at the Olympia Fields home with Drea and baby toddler Joanne, and she was introduced as the babysitter and family friend. And it was not. She would have been 15, about 14, 15 years old, just as a babysitter. Never saw her alone with Robert. Always saw her with Drea. And the only time that I saw her at the studio, you know, by herself, meaning without Drea, was her and her brother came, you know, with overnight things like pillow blankets, because their dad, Greg, was recording his guitar overnight, because that's Robert would work overnight and people work overnight. So they came to stay, and you know, it was very telling, because hindsight is so 2020, is that for one, you know, the only reason why anyone thought that relationship was weird is because Lafayette, the music director for Robert at the time, he had mentioned openly to me and Donnie Lyle, who later became Robert's music director, had mentioned that that was a weird scenario right there, pointing to Roshona and her mother sleeping over. But he didn't go into
at the time.
You know, I don't know. Probably within the same age bracket. I mean, a couple years apart.
Okay.
So it would,
you know, Michael Jackson situation, he should have.
Well, yeah. And that's probably what he was associating. Well, he was either associating that, or he was saying these kids should be in bed because it's a school night. I mean, there's so many different scenarios, and that's where, you know, like they say in the Bible, I mean, you're not supposed to gossip, you're not supposed, you know, because all of a sudden it plants these seeds that can be negative. So something that was innocent of maybe mom is not available and has to work, and dad is stuck with the kids, but he has to go, you know, play guitar, and the only place that the kids are allowed, you know, is to go with dad. Right. You know, I mean, you got to look at the different scenarios that can be out there. I mean, I wouldn't compare it to a Michael Jackson situation because Robert didn't have kids in the studio like that. He was always surrounded with his, guys who he played basketball with.
Okay.
And there were only a close knit, a few women at a time that would come, through the studio as well. But Lafayette's thinking probably would have kind of just came from that Michael Jackson scenario and then started a whole.
See, but again, Jenny is assuming. Jenny has no idea. She wasn't there. She's going off of something I just stated to you, and Lafayette stated that to me. I didn't think anything of it from that moment that Lafayette said, because I had already seen so many people around the studio hanging out, and that, for instance, a Chicago cop who had gotten off of duty, who was a friend, came to the studio to hang out, and Robert wasn't available. He would play basketball, so she ended up falling asleep in a lounge, until he came back. And it was like 3 a.m. I mean, it wasn't unusual for people to stay the night there. It just wasn't unusual. To have kids there, yes, that was unusual. Rashona stuck out because her and her brother were the only kids besides Al Jorgensen, who was in a band called Ministry. His daughter and her wife and his ex-wife, Patty and Adrian Jorgensen, they lived downstairs in Al's old office. And so she was a teenager that was at the studio all the time too. And then Vince Lawrence, who is known as the godfather of house music, he was also a co-owner of the studio, and his family, or wife, and his stepdaughter would come and visit him at the studio. So a lot of people, but my point is that I had to go through the trial. Robert and I, we did not keep in touch for about 2 years.
We are in the presence of academic royalty. He graduated a first-class honors degree in social science from the Sorbonne University at the tender age of 17. At 17.
Wait a minute, y'all. I don't know why it's pausing. Why is it pausing? What's wrong with the cable? Wait a minute. I don't know why it's doing this. Why is it doing this?
And that's to his own fault, because it's really come to bite him every single time. A lot of people portray Robert, take advantage of him, and he's allowed it in the past. So with the women, I've never seen anything except him hold them in the highest regard. I mean, any female that was around Robert, they got rock star treatment. He didn't want any of his homie guys talking to the women, because the guys were not, they come from all parts. You didn't want anyone trying to hit or do something goofy, or, like I said, Robert didn't ever have time for drama. So he just nipped it in the bud. Just not going to talk to these girls, and girls don't talk to these guys. We're just not going to do that. You're here to hang out with me. You'll hang out with me. We'll have a good time. And that's how he, when I watched the first Lifetime documentary, I didn't see it when it first came out, because I just didn't have interest, because everything I've ever read about Robert didn't match up to what I had experienced working with him. Now, working with him was never easy. We were very busy, and he was always doing some really, really big things. So I'm not sitting here saying that Robert is a perfect person or an angel, or, or doesn't have a mean streak in him. No, he can be a stressed out, hardcore boss in the sense of job done. Let's do this. He's fired people, and then he's hired people, just because like Jenny, for instance, she was hanging out with me because I was working there, and he said, hey, why don't you help your sister and be an intern, and so he did that a lot with people. And his managers, you know, took advantage of him. You know, eventually, I mean, there's a reason why he doesn't have as much money as he should. I mean, it's a sad scenario, you know, when you look at the whole picture. But the women, I mean, I didn't recognize half of them. Okay, and they were saying that they were around the time period that I was around. And I was exposed to all of his, you know, people and guests. Then, you know, there was one down. Right, I was in the studio, my office. When he moved the studio to his home in Olympia Fields, my office was at his home. You know, when he traveled on the bus, he and the family were in the back. I stayed in the front of the bus, the same bus. When we traveled, you know, they'd be in a suite. My room would be right next door. I'd have breakfast with them, lunch with them, dinner with them. I mean, you know, I went to LA alone with Robert. He's never, you know, people say, oh, because she's white, not his type. No, you know, Robert doesn't have white women. He's dated white women. He never took advantage of me in that way. He did nothing but help progress, you know, my career and help me grow and understand the industry, not just in the music industry, but life lessons in general. And he would take it a point to mentor me, and he would do that with other people too. But he got in creative zones, you know, his recording engineers, not, you know, like there are a couple of them that come to mind, you know, James Lee and Dylan Eli, and they were in the room. And if Robert's cutting vocals and it being done correctly, or, you know, the engineer happens to be, you know, rude to his guests in the room, you know, he would snap at him, you know, nip it in the bud. He didn't want to. And the guys didn't like that. They wanted to just you know, like recording engineers wanted to work in a happy environment. They can just talk to everybody and just, you know, it's all good in the room, and, you know, it's just open. And it's not unusual because, like, I did work with them. I'm on a Snoop Dogg song. Can I Get a Flick with You? Okay. And so I was hanging out at Snoop's camp for a while when I was in LA, and Quasi Day, and Joseph Weinberg, his producers, really wanted me to work for Snoop in the same capacity that I did for R. Kelly. And when I was hanging out with Snoop, I mean, Snoop had the same dynamic as Robert did. I mean, you walked in the room and there were a lot of people in the room, but Snoop was at the console, you know, the recording console in the room that it was set up. He's facing the console, music's playing, and people are walking up, speaking to Snoop in his ear. You know, he's not like turned around being like, hey guys, welcome away. You know, I mean, that's just how it is. So there's sort of a balance. Yeah, and, you know, and you get that with CEOs, you know, I mean, at the hospital, last hospital I worked at, you know, I got to know our CEO, and he was on site, but he had a secretary, he made an appointment, and he had an office, you know, and it's that same, you know, lineup. It's just there is no secretary and there is no office, you know, with these recording artists. They're just right there. Are exposed to build their own boundaries and walls. And so, you know, Robert is someone, and I learned this when I went to LA. Robert, he keeps a close-knit camp. He does not run around with a bunch of celebrities. He was Chicago. He made it a point to build his business in Chicago. He had interest in LA, but he wasn't trying to live the Los Angeles lifestyle by any means. And so a lot of people are very curious. Rob was like an enigma to people. Whenever I was in LA, you know, and I was, you know, like when I worked with Rakim and, you know, the other artists that I did while I was out there, they all want to know what R. Kelly was like because he was so guarded. There weren't that many people that were exposed to R. Kelly. So it leaves a lot of opportunity for people to make their own opinion of him. It's easy for, you know, for instance, Jenny had talked about, you know, Sparkle, you know, making money and that there was a tape. Well, then you fast forward to when the tape lands at the Sun-Times, and the Sun-Times journalist, you know, writes the article about the sex tape and identifies the girl and finds the aunt. Okay, so if any of you guys are from Chicago or been to Chicago, how is a overweight ex-musician, journalist for the Sun-Times, able to watch a blurry sex tape and find the girl's aunt, call her, and bring her to the Sun-Times to identify the girl and then write about it. How did he pinpoint that it was Roshona and that Sparkle needed to be called? How? That doesn't make sense.
So you
There are
are saying
really
that Sparkle
was not associated with R. Kelly.
Okay, so you're saying that Sparkle was the one that sent the tape off because she was fired by R. Kelly and he refused to pay her $250.
I don't know if she set the tape off.
Okay.
I can't say that.
Okay.
But my thing is that a tape existed that was supposed to be Roshona Lamphere, Sparkle's niece, underage, having a sexual encounter with R. Kelly. The tape doesn't go to the police first, it goes to the Chicago Sun-Times, then the police. But the journalist is able to identify the girl and call the aunt. All in a short amount of time, and then write an article on it. How, out of all the African American
Yes, it is. My whole thinking cut on. Sorry, y'all. I don't know why I keep doing this. Give me a second. It's crazy. There's something wrong that it keep doing that.
Hospitalized with COVID-19, with about
YouTube.
dying every.
So many people are trying to tell me to slow down. Seems like motherfuckers should be shutting the hell up and enjoying the show.
Wait a minute, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is.
So we have Jen Perry.
I gotta fast forward it.
kids should be in bed because it's a school night. I mean, there's dinner with them. I mean, I went to LA alone with Robert. And he's never, people say, oh, he's knew that he had been taken advantage of at this point so many times by Barry, because you hear, the stories of his business, that happened with Barry and why they had the falling out. But he still treated him with respect, still had him in the studio, played music for him, and then, we never saw him again. It was always rumored that Barry had a vendetta out for Robert, that he was affiliated with a lot of really bad people, and that he, his main purpose was to bring R. Kelly down. So, you're dealing with that group, right there. And then, like I said, the Sun-Times, it's just very odd that he was able to pinpoint this random African-American underage girl in a blurry video and know to call her aunt. And then you hear about the threats of Barry Hankerson. And I know, I've heard from, camps like Missy Elliott and Timberland, they had their own falling out with Barry, but that they felt like almost like, slaves to him, that, indentured slave. I mean, they felt like they could not get out of their business deal with Barry. So
Barry is, I want to make it clear just in case the audience is probably, Barry is the uncle to Aaliyah.
He what?
He's the uncle to Aaliyah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he's Aaliyah's uncle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here
and that's
two people that are working for R. Kelly. Rashona's dad.
Yep.
Aaliyah's uncle.
Yep. And that's the other thing too, is that Barry, it was really important to Barry that Robert developed Aaliyah as an artist. So she was at the studio all the time. They were writing music. And for those of you in the music, I mean, a good example is,
I've been told that finding your perfect match is almost impossible. Almost. Well, guess what, baby? No more swipes and left. Because whether you want something big, something small, something new, or you just feel like dumping your old one.
Miss Dee Dee of Imperial South Cole is a licensed Georgia real estate agent who is here to help you to find your dream home or to help you get rid of that old one. No matter if you're a first-time buyer or empty nester looking to downsize, she can help you with all your buying and selling needs. Check out Miss Dee Dee by visiting her website at www.imperialsouthcole.com.
No one is going to work harder to get you better results.
Let's put the wine down for a second because at times like this, we need to take a shot of the olive leaf extract because the olive leaf boosts our immune system and has been known to reverse high blood pressure, lupus, diabetes, and certain cancers. Check them out at myoliveleaf.biz to learn more and to order or simply click the link below in the description box. Now back to the wine.
You'll hear about artists all the time. I mean, artists and producers, writers, they keep very close-knit company.
Right.
You hear about artists coming up living in, so an artist that's signed to another artist or signed to another producer, they might be living in their house,
It happens all the time. Jamie Foxx is scrutinized for having a young woman that she was like around the age of 19 living in his house.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're struggling.
Yeah.
If I guess
They're struggling artists. They don't have money.
Finds them, they're like, okay, we're going to invest in you. Of course, you have to sign with me. And we're going to provide you with room and board. Work on your music, your access to my producers. Yeah, Dr. Dre. But then what happens too is I believe so much time is spent with artists and lines get crossed, boundaries are broken.
Yeah, well, I would say a creative, the best way to put it, I wouldn't say boundaries are crossed. I would say they go on the artistic journey. It's like a painter, when he starts bringing his painting together, he's sketching, and then he starts bringing in the paint, and then suddenly the sketch and the paint are flowing, and then you're starting to see this picture blossom.
Right.
That's a singer, writer, producer. They're putting in their part and they're on this journey together. And, like you saw with Diplo and Sia and, with the album that they did together, they were on LSD was the group and album that came out. They were on an entire journey together. And who knows what happened in their relationships as they created this album, that they became family, best friends. And I guarantee you they were together 24/7 as they were going through this journey. So, Aaliyah was young, but her uncle was facilitating, this relationship and this deal. Her parents were very much involved. She's very close with her brother. I mean, there were family dynamics here that weren't broken, and nobody had concerns. Then there's rumors that, he and Aaliyah were married, and then there's a marriage certificate out there that I heard was doctored. It's not even real. When I started working for Robert, I was not into R&B music. Okay, I was really into like punk rock. I did the whole Nirvana, whole baby, Land thing. So that's why I was a contender to be hired for him in the first place, because I wasn't starstruck. I mean, I walked into the room the first time I ever met him, and I couldn't pick him out in the lineup. I'm like, which one's Rob? And he liked me. No, because I just didn't. And as I got to work for him and saw his creativity, I mean, he's so talented, the music's beautiful, and I love everything he's done and that I've been able to be a part of. But I was walking in, not naive. I mean, I'd already kind of been there, done that in my lifetime. I got from Chicago, Las Vegas, and the whole thing in my childhood, but or teenage years, I should say. But I knew funny business, when I walked into it. And the thing is that no one ever mentioned Aaliyah. Nobody ever mentioned not to mention something about Aaliyah. It was just not even a topic of discussion. I didn't even know that she had been there, except she had this small dog that everyone always loved. I can't remember its name, but that was the only thing that I ever heard of. It was back in the day when we were recording Aaliyah and the dog. you know, 12 play. That was another thing. So everyone talks about 12 play.
And that was R. Kelly's one of his albums.
But that was it. That was it. No one ever said anything else. Same with like, you know, that was the other thing too, is being the way that I was and just, you know, just didn't really care. Like Robert meant nothing to me in the sense that I didn't find him intimidating. I didn't know his history very well. He wasn't a big deal to me. So when I came in, you know, these girls, if they would have been in trouble, you know, I would have been a person that they would have, I mean, I took them shopping, took them to Walgreens, you know, I would have been a person that they could be, I need help, you know,
Women, but everybody says girls these days.
that's right, women, but
No,
yeah.
is currently right now one of the charges that he is facing is from 2000 involving Rashawn LaFleur, okay, who was identified. Can you hear me?
And now I can.
Okay, sorry about that. So I do know, let me start over. I do know that one of the charges Rob is facing right now is dealing with that 2000 case involving Rashawn LaFleur, okay? They somehow brought it back. But I know personally, because I've looked at the jail records that were sent to me, how much money he's getting, who he's getting money from. And Rashawn LaFleur, till this day, is putting money on Robert's books.
Yeah, that's good. I'm not surprised. I mean, there was, you know, after the trial, her dad still recorded. I mean, I was, you know, I'm not surprised. I mean, they were
I did hear, because I was told the reason I guess she couldn't testify is because her family had moved to Germany.
No, they were in the Chicago area. But the thing is that with that court case, if no one called a person as a witness, or if they couldn't subpoena you, you weren't a part of it.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't have been a part of that trial if I would have just happened to move, you know, when I left R. Kelly's care instead of staying at CRC, you know, I wouldn't have been a part of it. But because I happened to stay in town.
Was Rashawn LaFleur the girl who he was on trial with for that sex child pornography? Was she still living with R. Kelly during the trial?
No. And during the trial, Robert was at Olympic. She never lived with Robert.
Okay.
That I saw.
Okay.
She lived with her parents in Oak Park.
Okay.
And she had a mom and dad, her brother. So she would, I mean, she would come, there were like, they referred to her as their goddaughter. They became very close. And both he and Andrea. And like when Robert was out of town and I was at the studio, he asked me, can I go pick up Rashona from school? And I would, because her mom was at work, not far from the studio. And I would bring her to Robert's office. She would do her homework there. And then at, you know, like 5:30, I'd drive her and drop her off at her mom's work. You know, and he wasn't even in town. When, you know, we were in Europe on tour, her parents had called because she had gotten in trouble with her boyfriend. She was, I think they got in trouble drinking with her boyfriend. And so Robert was consulted because they considered him like a second dad figure. And so he yelled at her about the dangers of drinking and being like boys, you know, while drinking. I remember that. We were, you know, on the tour bus. So it wasn't ever a thing where I thought, well, maybe there is, you know, I mean, it was never questioned.
Anything. And so you didn't suspect he and Rashona had any sort of like inappropriate relationship whatsoever?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
With the consent of her parents.
Yeah, I mean, there was never a weird scenario. You know what I mean? Like, there was never something where I personally walked away and went, well, that's weird. I mean, I never had that. And I was there for so long. You know, it always felt safe, comfortable. And like I said, Robert was very picky about who he kept around him. And the guys were all, you know, great. I mean, now the thing is that once you hang out with Rob, you know, like his guys, they go play basketball with him, and then they're going to the studio with him, and then he'd want an entourage around, so he wouldn't want the guys to leave. And they'd be with him for days, shower,
Yeah,
like
that's a big thing. Yeah, okay.
yeah, my choice. But that's not unusual. As I went and worked with other camps, that's not unusual, and that's the thing with the women is that, and I don't know their names. None of the women were important enough, that I was busy working. I had my goals and things that I was doing. I would see some of the same women that were hollering at R. Kelly in LA, at the parties with, the not Dr. Dre himself, but, his artists and, just other events that I would go to, like Dub Magazine events that I went to and things like that. The Magic Johnson events that he had, like at Sony Pictures, and I just see some familiar faces that I'm like, oh, I saw her in Chicago with Rob. So there are a lot of the same women, around. And when I saw the Lifetime documentary, the first one, what really bothered me was all I could say was, oh my gosh, I've never seen that lady before, and what is she talking about? Like, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even add up to Robert's personality. And I understand, I have never been in an abusive relationship myself, but I've heard from victims that they can go through an entire relationship needing help. They have that like sign where you put up your hand or whatever. So there's that. Or people going through a relationship and then later on looking back going, that wasn't right. Wow, I was abused or I was manipulated. And the one thing that I saw that was just interesting to me is that these women, none of them had police records. And I understand the police, is not for everybody. Not everybody feels, that the police are going to be their safety net. But there was also no hospital treatment for any, wounds or, abuse in that way. Or what was the other thing that I had noticed? Oh, that they all came back and did some sort of legal action with Robert when it had to do with, basically they weren't going to end up with Robert. So basically they had broken up and they weren't going to have a relationship with him anymore. Or, like Tiffany Hawkins, I noticed in the documentary, he said that baby was not his when she said she was pregnant. And then from then on, she was mad and it was like, okay, I'm taking legal action now. That was a common denominator for all those girls. And I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I'll say something that I've never been loud about that I told you because it is so personal. When I lived in Las Vegas in my mid-20s, and I was actually roofied and date raped by someone that was around my age, another white male. And I didn't do anything that night. I mean, I woke up and I couldn't remember anything. And I tried to get a hold of that guy and, he didn't respond. And then I, slowly over the next day or two, I started to remember events and realized that I had been drugged and date raped. And so I did go straight to the police and I filed a report. And they had me go to the hospital, I called the police and they told me to go to the hospital and they did a rape kit on me. And then an officer came and filed a report and then they sent me home. And then the police officer called me a couple days later, or a different police officer called me a couple days later and basically said, if you were going to press charges, he basically talked me out of it. But I did not. The point is, something like that did happen to me. I didn't go and look for a publicist and go to the news. I mean, it's a very personal thing. I called the police. I dealt with it privately. I don't even know if I told you about it. I really didn't tell anybody. It's embarrassing. It's personal. And So yeah, I mean, I have been a victim in my past, and I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't do anything that any of these alleged victims are doing because it is so personal. And when you are telling the truth and you are a victim, you go straight to the police. That's what you need to do as soon as possible. That's what a victim does.
And it was so hard. Like when that first Lifetime series came out, and like I said, I was just looking at it like, oh my gosh, you know, like none of this is true. It's crazy. And then the only person
There were a few victims that did say that they did go to the police.
they what?
They did go to the police. There were a few, just a few, not a lot, because a lot of times, you know, what we say now is the parents that are around, you know, and the girls
Right.
out of, I guess, from under having Stockholm syndrome or something like that, or being manipulated. And so that is when they, you know, they just kind of have this epiphany. But I do know, statistic-wise, that when it comes to a lot of Black women, and you know, versus white women, if a Black woman were to go to the police, she wouldn't get the same treatment as a white. So I know for a fact, like personally, like that, you know, especially back in that time, like in the 90s or, you know, early 2000s, you know, we're still kind of like Black women were looked at as kind of the lowest and treated that way, unfortunately, because of what's been, you know, what's happened to racism, you know.
Well, and it's,
but
you know, that right there, that what you just said, I mean, that's just disgusting. It shouldn't be that way at all, you know. And I've never seen it that way. And that's the thing, is that me being at the studio, you know, and around him as much as I was, if someone were in trouble, they would have, I really feel that they would have felt comfortable to talk with me. But I didn't recognize, you know, any of the girls on there except Lisa Van Allen and his ex-wife Drea. When Drea,
I don't mean to cut you off, but you said you saw her coming around a lot. And
Beverly, yeah,
okay, and then she
she was around.
was mind-boggling to me about her story is that all this abuse, right? And she left Robert, went and had a baby, and came back with the baby.
Yeah.
And
he got her a car.
Okay.
They bought her a car.
Okay.
After he bought her out.
And he was in a relationship with her, and then
he bought her a house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Florida.
Interesting.
Or maybe it was Atlanta. But yeah, she even had pictures of it on social media. But he loved her. I'm going to be very straight and honest. He loved Lisa. Loved her, adored her. She was very important to him. There was another girl, Beverly, that was around. And I just remember her because her mom would always come and bring her, you know, change of clothes, and she was always with Lisa. But Robert loved Lisa. She was very important to him. They had fun. They'd be, you know, laughing, things like that.
What about Dominique?
You know,
What about Dominique Gardner?
I didn't know her. She wasn't around when I was there.
She does not have to see R. Kelly go to jail.
Yeah, but
she still loves.
Well, was she the one that was in LA?
Yeah, and her mom saved her.
Oh, wait, yeah.
She lived down the street from her mom.
Yeah, that
lived down the street from R. Kelly's house. Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense, because Robert was in Chicago and she's in LA doing all this stuff. It doesn't even make sense. Robert doesn't have a record label, okay? He had his own record deal and music publishing deal at one time, but he never developed himself enough to have, like, he wouldn't have had an artist in LA recording and writing, staying in a hotel. He never put himself in that position. He never got that car with his business.
So what's the stories that the girls are saying that he lured them in with?
I don't know why it keeps doing this. I'm so sorry. I don't understand. I don't know why it keeps doing it. Wait a minute, everybody. I don't know. It shouldn't do this.
So many people are trying to tell me to slow down. Seems like motherfuckers should be shutting the hell up and enjoying the show.
All right, so
Wait a minute, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Let me make sure that is right.
Why the hell so many people are trying to tell me to slow down? Seems like motherfuckers should be shutting the hell up and enjoying the show.
all right, so we have Jen Perryman and Lindsay here. Okay, you ladies worked for R. Kelly for quite a while, all right, and it was during some very tough times. And so I believe you ladies, I don't want to speak for you, have been advocates. You wanted, you're calling for his release. You feel that he is innocent. And I just kind of wanted to unwind your story because you didn't get much time in this private R. Kelly documentary done by R. Kelly. I mean, done by time. Okay, on R. Kelly. Okay?
On R. Kelly.
Yes, on R. Kelly. And so I've always wanted to hear more from you, okay? Because I kind of thought you were coming from a non-biased position, you know? And so I'm happy to have you here. I'm glad I caught you ladies. I know that you are very, very busy right now.
Why the hell so many people are trying to tell me to slow down? Seems like motherfuckers should be shutting the hell up and enjoying the show.
All right, so we have Jen Perryman and Lindsay Perryman. Okay, you ladies worked for R. Kelly for quite a while. All right, and it was during.
I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, y'all. If y'all can give me 1 more second. I don't know what's going on. This don't never happen to me. Ever.
Why the hell so many people are trying to tell me to slow down? Seems like motherfuckers should be shutting the hell up and enjoying the show.
Alright, so we have Jen Perryman and Lindsay Perryman. Okay. You ladies worked for Kelly for quite a while. All right. And it was just people that, that's what they did. They had studio time and they recorded and they were brought there to record, and everyone knew that line. Every guest that came, they knew why they were there. They knew that they were hanging out with R. Kelly, and a lot of them just wanted to be around him to watch him create because they love his music, and they loved him. Fans, and I've learned through this process is fans all around the world have their own very special relationship with Robert just through his music, even though they've never met him before. So imagine somebody with that passion about him and his music actually getting to meet him and hang out with him. I'm sure it's, I can't even imagine, the emotions and, everything that how special they feel and probably let down when it doesn't go their way. These women in particular, though, that I've just seen, all of them,
since the Lifetime docuseries, I mean, like I said, I didn't recognize any of them. I didn't know any of them. There was one girl in Atlanta who was trying to be R. Kelly's personal assistant. And she went on and said that she was kept in a room and did a tour in the old rented house he had in Georgia. And I asked Robert to start watching that documentary just to understand.
That was the older lady.
Not older.
No,
One right before that.
I can't think
of her name. She has a ton of mugshots.
Yes, that's the one. She's older though.
Yeah.
She
is older, I guess.
She left her
Right, I don't know.
I cannot think of her name. It's gonna come to me after this interview. But,
we don't even
Ashanti McGee. Ashanti
Yes.
McGee.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that piece of trash. Yeah. Yeah, left her chance to go and work for R. Kelly, and was managing the girls on the tour bus.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was trying to be a personal assistant, and Robert, he started watching the docu-series, and he called me like 10 minutes right after he started watching it, because we hung up, and he's like, I'm just going to watch it. And then he called back, and he goes, I've never slept with her. Lindsay, I never slept with this one.
This one. Yeah.
Yeah, and artists are promiscuous, and I'm not, that's why I'm not saying Robert is not a perfect human being. I'm not sitting here saying that he is this God-sent angel and, he was married to Drea and they had, they had an open relationship, which I've discussed before how I found out about that.
Yes, Drea. Jen, you said that you quit because of Drea. You didn't like it.
Yeah, so when he was hired as an assistant, to me, then Drea, Rochelle was back at school, so Drea needed help at the house with Joanne.
Okay.
So Robert had Jen go to the house, and Jen would have to stay the night with Drea, and then it got to, and I didn't realize how bad it was until Jen's like, can you please go one night? Because I got to have a break. So I'm like, I really wanted, music was my ambition, business, so I really didn't want to do that, but I was like, okay. So I went out, and Drea was just, you felt like a prisoner. You were in hell.
Drea.
You were in the hell.
And I finally, it got so bad that I finally, because I didn't want to tell Rob since that was his wife.
Yeah.
But finally I got Rob involved and he said, okay, I just told him, she'd have you moving furniture. She'd have you, you bring her breakfast in the morning.
She said that
put it outside
the room, that R. Kelly locked her in the room. And
she was in the bathroom chatting with me, eat her breakfast, put it outside the door, shut the door, and it was just a known fact that you were supposed to come get her dish. And then there were some positive things about her too.
But I remember going downstairs for breakfast at the start of the day, and she didn't like what I was wearing. I was wearing shorts and just a tank top. It was summertime, Chicago. I was wearing shorts and a tank top, and she didn't like what I was wearing, and so Drea had me go upstairs to change my clothes. And
so revealing too much or something, or
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't. I was just, skinny little white girl just wearing shorts and a tank top. I mean, and it was just me and Drea, Joanne, and Jaya. And Jaya was a little baby. And we were at the house. Yeah, she had been born. She was a newborn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Came out. She was in tears. She was like, "Oh my God!" Like it was hell in that house. He had me locked in a room. I had to beg for food. I remember I had to come out. I remember one day he followed off floors and he had a chain around my neck. He abused me.
Now she did have to ask him for permission to leave the house, to run errands, and that's because she refused to have a bodyguard. So when he and Barry Hankerson parted ways, and Barry Hankerson had it out for him, he was always paranoid that maybe something would happen to his family, that Barry would have something done to his family. So he lived in fear for that, okay? So when you take that understanding, and then Robert's traveling, and his wife is home with no security and just roaming free, he would want to know where she was and when. I mean, you know, and all she would do is, hey, can I, you know, I want to go to the grocery store. Be like, okay, call me when you get back. Hey, I'm gonna go to the mall.
She was at all times.
They just want to know where she was.
And they lived on a golf course.
Hostage in her own house.
No, and they lived in a golf course. It wasn't a private membership, you know, country club. It was a open to the city country club. So it was in her backyard. So she was accessible, which would have added an his paranoia. And it's understandable.
So she didn't have to beg for food.
I mean, I remember when
She didn't have to beg for food because you guys went and got the food and put it outside the door.
Yeah, and she also would cook. She was an amazing cook. She had this spaghetti that had this like taco seasoning and brown sugar in it.
chicken teriyaki. I remember she made really good chicken teriyaki.
Strawberry ice cream was their midnight.
That's really good. Up until recent, there was videos on Twitter, as recent as 2018, of Drea defending R. Kelly. And then all of a sudden, it switched.
Yeah.
He made me do this. He locked me in a room during a hurricane and didn't check on me. Made me walk out on all fours. I had
Your dance studio failed.
For what?
You needed a different change in direction in her career.
I really feel like it was career oriented. It was for her career.
10 years from now, when all this passes, I mean, she'll be pro R. Kelly again when he's caught up on child support and taking care of them.
Woo, the shame.
Well, but her actions had torn apart their family. You know, the kids were no longer in contact with Rob because she was doing this whole sob story that was
He was saying
fabricated.
child support. She struggled. I was like, why won't you get a job?
Well, and that's what everyone else said. And then they were saying, you know, her daughter had to drop out of college because he wasn't paying for it. Well, he actually really wasn't obligated to pay college, but he just chose to. And you know, you look on Joanne's social media, she was school and she was pursuing her music career. So Robert was paying for school and he wasn't even sure if she was going. I mean, it wasn't. You know, he was given money when he could, and then there were times where he realized my money is going towards a publicist fee, so she can get out there and bash me publicly. Why am I paying for this?
Drea doesn't have a job, and she has hair, 24/7 hair and makeup, personal assistant. She's got a whole staff, and
and she's bashing him in media, but her funding is from him. I mean, at a certain point, you know, he was just. He was when I was with him the 4th of July before, you know, a couple weeks before he got picked up by the feds, and he was upset with his kids. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, you know, and he's like, no, they're doing it, they're saying this stuff, you know, and he said it just is what it is. I mean, he had no control over it, you know, but he wasn't hateful. And Robert, everyone that you will ever meet that knows, like actually does know Robert, will tell you he does not, you know, he doesn't get vindictive. He'll be sour. I mean, he'll, you know, hold a little grudge until there's peace, you know, between people. But he would never close his door and lock it to his family, kids, or friends. I mean, he'd knock on the door and he'll open it.
Okay.
You know, and that's the thing too, is the kids could have left their mom, you know, if they're so curious about their dad, you know, I mean, at any point they could have left their mom and gone and hung out with their dad, and he would have been open arms.
Well, Joanne did a song with him in 2015, his daughter, his oldest daughter, and they did a song together, and he was trying to help her.
Yeah. So it's just sad to see a family tore apart, a man put behind bars. You know, he, you know, without bail, and if you see murderers out on the street on bail, you know, it just doesn't make any sense.
And still no evidence against him.
So the prosecution, because you probably know through the legal system, like you talk to cops, every time that you hear like, oh, Robert didn't get bail, every cop's gonna say, oh, they must have a lot of stuff on him to keep him. And you'll hear that consistently. And they probably do have a lot of stuff, but it has not been sent to court to be ruled true or false. So he has a ton of allegations, enough to keep him behind bars, but he has not had his day in court to start throwing out stuff. You have to start organizing it. That's what trials are for. Testify, rule if this evidence is true or not true. But right now, what the prosecution has done, and what was unusual, is when that first Lifetime docuseries came out, then the Chicago prosecutor went out and basically opened up an 800 number and said, if you have any wrongdoing for R. Kelly, call this number now and we'll press charges. And she did. She got some more charges against him. And that's unheard of. That's a witch hunt. You know, that's never been done. And you'll never hear that being done. And that's a black man. You know, I mean, that's another thing too. And, you know, I've never heard this.
I don't mean to cut you off, but what about his brother?
No, Bruce and Carrie.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce was around when I was at the studio. I remember he had a little girl that he brought with him to the studio. So there's another family, you know, event at the studio. But he was always in and out of jail. When he was out of jail, Robert always, you know, hired him for like security, just to, you know, be there around him. I never met Carrie, but from what I heard, and I don't know this for a fact, but he was a foster dad. So when they were looking at him as being a possible contender for being the man in that tape in the 2008 trial, he was a foster dad, and that would have taken away his whole foster.
Yo, I don't know why this keep doing this. I'm not sure. I don't understand. This is crazy.
Safety tips. Avoid talking on the phone in unfamiliar locations or insecure areas. If you must take a call, keep conversations short and to the point, and maintain awareness of your surroundings. If driving, be sure to use a... Don't feel...
He claims that R. Kelly, his brother offered him $50,000 for that tape. And that he's actually seen other tapes with his brother. With underage.
I'm willing to bet. Well, and like I said, Carrie was never around.
Okay.
So they didn't have a relationship, you know, and then Bruce are good things, you know. I mean, you heard the jokes that like Rob played on his brother, but
you'll see every time we play anything about Robert,
but Carrie
all these problems.
So I
every time
wouldn't trust anything he said because there's a reason why he wasn't around.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if he was his great loving brother, I would have met him at some point. I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be talking to brothers here soon.
And I've never heard anything bad about Carrie.
Okay.
You know, or Bruce. Just that they run into trouble. That's the only thing I've ever heard. I'm willing to bet though that if you talk to Carrie and he mentions my brother was going to pay me this for saying that it was me in the tape. It probably wasn't his brother that said that. It was probably someone like Daryl McDavid or an attorney that was trying to do that. And probably just trying to get rid of the whole scenario. Rob didn't even have access to his own money. No, he didn't. Daryl McDavid. I mean, there were times that Lindsay had to go pick up Rob off the freeway. Or the one time he ran out of gas. He was going to his house in Olympia Fields. He was in his like McLaren. And he ran out of gas, so we had to get gas money to him. He was out at like 89th Street, you know. Okay. Then there was another scenario where he was at a hotel, and I had to go pick him up. So he didn't have money, you know. Not that he wasn't broke, but he didn't have an ATM card. And you know, he would get Daryl McDavid would cut a check, and either me or June Brown would go cash it, and we'd give Rob his money whenever he needed it, cash. So he didn't operate on credit cards, and he was given a, you know, stipend. And then he would, you know, just go, Daryl McDavid, I mean, he was in charge of all of his money. They'd review his books, I think every few months, but, you know, honestly, I don't think Robert had the true education to understand, you know, everything, and he had to put a lot of trust into Daryl, and, you know, Daryl was the accountant when he was manager. So that's why Daryl became his like business manager when Barry left, because it was just last man standing, and he'd already been a part of it. And he trusted him. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the paranormal, because I've heard you mention the reason Dre had to pick up the phone is because R. Kelly's parents. Do you think that is the reason why the girls that Azrael Clarity, I know Joyce Lynn Savage is president.
Mm-hmm.
All of the girls, Ashanti, Dominique Gardner, do you think that is the reason why they had limited communication? 720 Royal wants you to look like the royalty that you are. Shop 720royal.com for head.
And it's wrong, and it needs to stop. And if this can happen to R. Kelly, this can happen to any artist.
Oh yeah, well, anyone. Well, let me ask you this, because I respect everyone's position. You know, you were there, I was not there. The information that I have is what's been given to me from people that
right
to Robert, victims, alleged victims. But if let's take Aaliyah. Although her uncle facilitated the career, okay, and that R. Kelly developed Aaliyah, she was underage. Even though, yes, she had permission from her family, does it make it right, in your opinion?
To have a job? It's a trend.
To have a relationship as a 15-year-old girl with a 30-year-old man.
They weren't in a relationship. They were only working together.
So you don't.
They weren't a couple.
You don't believe in the marriage?
No, they were not a couple. Both of them even deny it. Even Aaliyah, I found footage of her even denying it. That's the thing.
You think he denied it because he told her to deny it? Because I mean,
no. She was engaged to Damon Dash, and Damon Dash and Jay-Z before Best of Both Worlds. Like when I started working in 1999, they were coming to Chicago Tracks on a regular basis. And Damon was in an active relationship with Aaliyah. And I'm sure if he felt that there was any type of abuse or, anything, I mean, he adored Aaliyah. He would have, I'm sure he wouldn't be hanging out with Aaliyah's ex. I mean, that would have made Rob and one of Aaliyah's ex. Damon Dash being in an active relationship with Aaliyah would not be hanging out with her ex. But a lot of artists, they're developed young with producers and writers. Just because you're hearing of Aaliyah and Robert, they're one of thousands of other stories just like this. Does it make it right? I mean, you hear of child actors and how screwed up they get. A lot of them become drug addicts, things like that. No, these businesses are not for children. But again, that was up to her uncle and her parents to draw that line. And they facilitate.
What's funny is they never spoken on it.
The only thing the parents say is that a relationship never happened, that the marriage was not real. The mom has. She's tried to speak out in honor of her daughter.
Yeah, I mean, she never co-signed a relationship with her daughter and R. Kelly. Because I was told by Carrie Kelly that, R. Kelly.
Carrie was not around. Carrie was not around.
So Carrie only knows when he saw Aaliyah and her mother having
a
threesome.
And I'm not trying to be rude to Robert's brother, but he wasn't around.
Okay.
He can say whatever he wants to say, but he wasn't around. If you want to know what happened with Aaliyah and Robert, I would get a hold of Barry Hankerson. I would get a hold of Aaliyah's parents.
Yeah,
I would
speak at all.
Right, but I mean, those are the.
Well, he can't speak on it because he says every time that he tried to talk to her about it, she would not open up. So.
Well, there was a there.
That was I think the only thing that he said is she said he's a bad man, but she never spoke of any type of abuse or relationship or anything. So it's kind of like this mystery. But
Aaliyah's just fine. So try not to speculate on Aaliyah and how she was feeling. Look at her career path after Robert and her persona in the media and any interviews she did. Aaliyah was not a victim. Aaliyah was a strong Black woman with a great career and a long future ahead of her, and very smart. She did not feel like she was a victim. And think about all the bad things that people have said about her uncle, Barry. I mean, but he put Aaliyah first, and she had an excellent career. So if you want to speculate, then go off of evidence, and the only evidence we have is her career, what she did after Rob, and interviews and things she said, and that's it. And I don't see a victim there. I don't see anyone looking for, the police. She was fine.
It does tend to have a lot of soft spots with celebrities like Kate Michelle, Whitney. I mean, a lot of his victims do feel sorry for him. I mean, I've heard Dominique say to me she does not want R. Kelly to go to jail. He does not.
Yeah, but she'd also want her mom to have a book deal.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
You're right.
And that's the thing. I don't think they're victims. When you say their victims don't want him to go to jail, I don't think it's a Stockholm syndrome. I really think they're not victims. I think they didn't get what they wanted out of the relationship, and they're mad, and they want their money. I mean, I really think that a lot of people that get close to celebrities get close to them with an agenda. There is an agenda. Where I live now with my kids, my husband, my agenda is my family life. So I'm here. But if I wanted to be around a celebrity for, money, lifestyle, travel, try to get my own deal, I'd be with an artist. You don't just go around art.
Are you and your sister going to be, testifying on behalf of R. Kelly during this trial?
We've offered. I don't know. Well, if the attorneys need us, we've spoken with them.
Okay, because I do know it's Shauna LaFleur. What is the girl's name?
Well, supposedly Aaliyah has even been brought in as Jane Doe in this case.
That's going to be interesting. I know they're going to keep it sealed. But yeah, I mean, there's a few victims that they're using. I think I can't remember her name. Right? It's 13 years ago. She has a shirt with female on it, and she met him during the trial. And so many victims, and I'm trying to and I've had somewhat steady communication with her, and I'm just having very bad.
That's all right.
They are they're bringing up some victims who are now of age, and they're kind of using that to kind of take the charges on that. Now, personally, if there were, because I can only go off, I can only report on what was told to me. I do know Asbury Clary did leave with her family's permission at the age of 17. I do know she came home, she graduated, she went back. They were not under the impression that a sexual relationship was going on because she was to be developed. But instead,
has in the state,
she not loving. Go ahead.
The state for and too, 17 is legal. I mean, if she were having a sexual relationship at 17, it is legal, depending on the state. And obviously, it was consensual.
It was consensual on her end. I mean, she's made that clear a few times. But she does say now that she was brainwashed. She felt like it was, like being.
And that's the thing. I mean, no, there would not be a cult-like factor to R. Kelly. It's not a cult. But I could see a young girl.
I just want to rewind a bit. 1 second, guys.
Just for money. Young, attractive, like Playboy model, with Hugh Hefner, for instance. That they don't find 80-year-old Hugh Hefner when he was alive attractive. It was his wealth. And that you could easily say that he manipulated you because he had something that you want. That's the sin of
Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner have several relationships with underage white women. Me?
Now I can.
Okay, sorry about that. So I do know.
So yeah, I mean, I have been a victim in my past, and I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't do anything
and she didn't like what I was wearing, and so Drea had me go upstairs to change to the state. And minor CATs helps a lot of kids, but he's also been.
He claims that R. Kelly, his brother offered him $50,000 to take a bath for that tape, and that he actually seen other tapes with his brother, with underage.
I'm willing to bet. Well, and like I said, Carrie was never around.
Okay.
So they didn't have a relationship.
Il est impératif d'évaluer les conséquences sociales que pourrait avoir l'évolution des sociétés économiques sur le climat politique. L'action que les sociétés là, le projet, bien sûr, c'est évident,
Goodness, it keep cutting off, you guys. Mhm. We're gonna try to finish this up tomorrow. Cause I don't know, guys, why it keeps messing up like that, and it might be because I've been on live for 2 hours and 40 seconds. I believe it says 2 hours and 40 seconds. Yes. So thank you everybody for being here. I will start a reaction video from what we've seen so far, and I'll start it early around like 11 o'clock. I'll come on because I do have to get ready for Sonia's virtual party, which will be at 6 in the R. Kelly versus Kells karaoke. So just make sure you guys, if you haven't already subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on all so that when I do go live, you'll get the notification. Thank you for being here. Love you guys. Hopefully you have a good morning. It's 4 o'clock. All right. See you later.